Okay. All right. So last week we talked about small moment stories, the last couple of weeks, right?
Yep.
And we have been working to write our narratives, right? Some of you have been using your notebooks. Some of you have been using Google. Either way that you're choosing to write is fine. But today we're going to talk specifically about punctuating dialogue. Now, like I told you already, last week we talked about paragraphing and we talked about introductions, leads. So if you find that I am giving you feedback when you're sending me your writing that talks about paragraphing or your introduction, you're going to want to probably go back and rewatch those lessons. They are posted in the classroom, so you should be able to watch them anytime you want. They're also posted on our website, okay? Now, today we want to focus on how to punctuate dialogue. And the reason we're doing that is because I've noticed through reading many of your stories that you guys have talking, but it's kind of confusing because we're missing the punctuation that tells the reader this is talking, right? So in front of you, I've passed out a copy of Brendan's chapter 6, okay? Last week, I gave the other kids a copy of this as well. We have really been focused on this chapter for his small moment of going through the car wash on the tricycle, because it was such a great small moment story, right? And so if you turn to, because this is the first time you've had this copy, I want you to turn on your copy to page 48. Okay, it looks like what you'll see on my screen right now. And I want you to mark where the beginning of that small moment starts. It's on page 48 at the very top. He says, I hand him the school flip cam and he goes off to distract the attendants. So if you look at my screen, you can see I just put a little corner mark there with a star that just says begin. So when I talk about Brendan's small moment story, I'm talking about starting right here, okay? Now, if you turn the page, I think this is 48, 49, 50, page 51 is the ending of his small moment story, okay? So turn to page 51, and I want you to mark the ending of it. And it's the third paragraph down. It starts with, I'm blown away, and ends with, it was my reputation, not his, that got us out of the jam back there. Okay, so beginning is on page 48. Ending is on page 51. We got that? Yes? Crickets? Are we asleep? Wake up, kids. Okay, so I want you to turn to page 50. Okay? So it looks like the one that you see on the board. Looks like this. It should say page 50 at the bottom on your copy. Okay? And this is this page has some really great examples on how we punctuate dialogue. Okay? Because as a reader, we rely on certain clues to let us know, oh, this is somebody talking, right? So when we are looking at dialogue as a reader, we are looking for a couple of things. Number one, we're looking for quotation marks, right? At the beginning and at the end of what the person says. That's what lets us know the talking has started and the talking stopped, right? We're also looking for a capital at the beginning and a punctuation at the end, okay? So, for example, if I was saying let's write a sentence about Diego making his brick, okay? So, when Diego came into class today, I asked him how his brick was going. And he said, Not good. My dog stepped on it, right? So if I wanted to write that, I could say, here's my quotation mark, and he said, not good. That would start with a capital. And then not good kind of seems like its own sentence right there, right? So I would give it a period. My dog stepped on it. And then that's the end again. So we have another ending punctuation and quotation marks, said Diego. You see how this works? Okay. So here we have a beginning quotation mark, an ending quotation mark. It starts with a capital and ends with a punctuation. We got this? Okay. Then you still need to have the punctuation at the end. Okay? Just because it's inside the quotation marks here does not mean you get to skip it over here. Kavish? Okay. That's example number 1. Now go back to page 50. Let's look at this again. What do you notice? And we talked about this with our paragraphing lesson last week. But what do you notice happens when someone new talks? Look at that page. Follow as I read. Ready? Brendan? The manager squints at me. I guess I'm not that easy to recognize, soaking wet and half dead and my skin all slimy. I think I got a wax treatment in there somewhere. Is that you? Why would you do such a crazy thing? I'm the president of the video club at Hiawassee Middle, I supply. Adults always cut you more slack if they think something is a project for school. It does the trick, especially when I promise to put an ad for the shiny bumper on the club's yearbook page. Sure, I get yelled at, but at least no one's talking about calling the cops anymore. The manager even sends one of his employees into the mechanism to rescue my glasses, which are undamaged, except for a small crack in the right lens. We head back to my place. I'm riding the trike, mostly because I'm too weak to stand. Chase carries the precious cargo, 2 cameras with the footage on them. Sorry, Chase, I mumble contrite. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. He cocks an eyebrow. Looks more like you got me out of trouble. Well, all I did was tell the truth. The whole thing was my idea. That guy was ready to have me arrested. Okay, let's look here. First, we have character number 1, the manager, right? Then we have Brendan. Then we have thinking, right? And then here we have Brendan, Chase, Brendan, Chase, Brendan. What's happening every time a new person talks? What's happening? Tell a neighbor. What do you see happening every time a new person talks?
Something happened.
What is happening the way that the author wrote it?
Yeah, something's happening.
Brooklyn? They are. And how do you know they're having a conversation? It is, but look, it's not one big block of text, is it? You have paragraph here, then a paragraph here, then we have a couple of paragraphs, right? Then we have paragraph, 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 paragraph. Wait. What's happening here? Every time a new person talks, what do you have to give it?
A paragraph.
A paragraph, people. A paragraph. If you are not giving paragraphs within your dialogue, it is hard for your reader to read it. You get lost. And then you're like, wait a second, who said this? Wait a second, what was this one? And so you have to not only punctuate using the quotation marks, the capitalization, and the ending punctuation, but you also have to give each new speaker a paragraph. Capiche? Okay, so you have the next 15 minutes to work on your narrative. I want to remind you, if you are someone writing in Google and you find that you are ready for teacher feedback, you have to submit it to me. If you don't, I don't think you're ready for me to read it. Fair? If you're working on paper, that's fine too. You choose whichever medium you want to write. Questions or confusion? Yeah. Okay, 15 minutes is yours.